going. Ding, we're live.
Here we go.
Nathan, hello, welcome. Slightly different to the other chats that we've recently uploaded because obviously you're part of the Hybrid Athlete Club team, but we are doing a little series of conversations, lifting the lid on the life that is a part-time, fake, full-time Hyrox athlete. Big misconception with all the people that join the Hybrid Athlete Club is you need to be an athlete. Well, you might be an athlete by some stretch of imagination, but all of the people in the club come from different backgrounds, have different contexts in which they train. So these chats are just alluding to the fact that people are normal, relatable, and still doing epic stuff. So welcome, mate. Thank you very much for
Epic indeed, epic
indeed. I've started all of these with just a general intro from you. So who are you? What does life look like? What's a normal day in the life of Nathan Britten? Do you want to kick off?
Yeah. So Nathan Britten. Who am I? Well, most recently I've become a dad, so very busy. So my daughter's 8 months old, so I suppose that's been that keeps me busy most days, and that's probably the big. I know we might go on to the biggest challenges later on, but yeah, squeezing in training in the morning and work at my partner Sinead. She also loves the gym and fitness and stuff, so it's balancing her needing to get time in and yeah, with me training as well. So yeah, I am obviously, like you said, member of the Hybrid Athlete Club, so I do all the technical side of it, so balancing kind of those bits out. And I'm also a software engineer as well. So three different things keeping me busy at the moment on top of the training. But yeah, that's generally what's keeping me busy and what I'm about.
So you're a full-time dad. You're a full-time husband. Not yet.
Not yet. Next year.
Full-time partner. You've got a full-time job. Hybrid is quickly becoming a full-time effort as well. And now you're trying to shoehorn in some training towards what will be your first Hyrox.
Yep. Yeah. So first Hyrox, Birmingham, and then second Hyrox will be London. So yeah.
So a bit of backstory for everybody else listening. Nathan booked his first Hyrox, and then we got really excited by the Birmingham team that we have, all 25 odd of them that are doing Birmingham next weekend. So we've jumped in last minute, and I'm going to take you around your first Hyrox instead.
Well, it's coming from a man who ran like an 11-hour Ironman. You know, I think it's going to be zone 2 on your watch and about a zone 7 on mine if it existed. So.
We are going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun. Let's give a bit of context around the training side of things then. So take me back quickly to pre Hyrox Nathan. What did growing up look like with sport? Did you do any at uni?
Yeah. So back in the day, rugby was my sport, so everything I trained for was revolved around that really. So a lot of your classic compound lifts, static movement, like pure strength, and then obviously a lot of more running, not running in the sense of doing a 5K and stuff, but game specific running, a lot more short, sharp, working for a lot more of a compact time, but yeah, high explosive effort and stuff. So that was basically me up until post uni. So I trained a lot of uni. I was very fortunate, but ended up playing, representing England, and that was kind of again had to drop it in there. A lot less about aerobic capacity, even though it probably should have been, but yeah, a lot more about strength. And then from there on in, I kind of went into, I traveled for a bit, and that was a lot more kind of generic gym stuff. Definitely fell a bit more into running, but I hated it because it was just, I never really felt, it was always very much a chore. But that was more around just trying to keep some in some shape, do a lot less strength based, mixing up a bit more. And then recent years, CrossFit, found CrossFit when we moved to Colchester, absolutely loved it, getting flogged for an hour. You don't have to, because up until that point, I'd done all of the programming for me and Sinead, which is ridiculous to think of because I don't know anything. But yeah, CrossFit was great because you obviously got someone like yourself telling you what to do for an hour, and it was all over progressive, you know, over a time period and stuff, which is good. And then, yeah, the hype of Hyrox came out. We obviously built the Hyrox calculator, and then a few people at the gym did it, and yeah, and then managed to get roped into it. I suppose in between that, the big change has been with running, because I've done, I think COVID, I did 2 or 3 half marathons, which is like Matt was massively out of my comfort zone. And then leading on to that, I was like, this Hyrox stuff, a lot of running. I don't hate running anymore. You know, so we wanted to give that a go.
Yeah, I was going to come on to the COVID stuff because like, you are in the very fortunate position that you seem to have always had a thread of enjoyment with fitness. Like, it's a big part of uni for you. You played for England, which is pretty sensational. So you have some degree of athlete in you. But in the context of Hyrox, it's not like you've come from a completely similar position with running. Like, there was a period where you actually just didn't enjoy it. But obviously, the COVID times, it swept everyone along. If you did anything, a lot of people did run. So what was that like? Yeah, talk through that.
Yeah, to be honest, like even COVID, I didn't love running. Like I got into it and it was the only form, and I became less bad at it, so that you naturally tend to enjoy that stuff more. But I was still doing I mean, it really wasn't until I did like the half marathon program that we have,
Yeah,
and then onto all of the Hyrox stuff, where I was like, because before what I was doing was like, right, I'll do a 7K run as fast as I can. That was like Monday. Oh, I'm going to take it down a bit. Tuesday was just a 5K run as fast as I could. Like there was never any like, and then obviously going on to our half marathon program and for the Hyrox training, you only run really intensively like once a week. There's a long run. Like the concept of running for a long time and enjoying it was just like, but you're doing it really slow, zone 2. I'd never heard of it, and it just totally changed running, because you always kind of look forward, you know, no matter if you're really struggling on the Tuesday or Wednesday intervals, you always know that like this is just a hard session, and then you get a nice long run, which is still beneficial, but yeah, it just made it so much more enjoyable.
And I guess you kind of alluded to there, but there's a period of where you didn't quite enjoy the running, largely because you weren't overly familiar with it, therefore probably not as good as you wanted to be or thought you should be. But as you've kind of progressed through the program over the last 12 weeks or so, you've been like fully on. That you can see like the confidence is built, your enjoyment around it's like you ran on holiday.
And I met first time ever, literally, I used to scoff at people that would be like, "Oh, on holiday, just done a workout," and I did 2 runs in a workout session on holiday, which is like that's mad.
Right? Yeah, and it's again because the familiarity, that confidence is there. You kind of know what to expect from yourself, so your expectations are more aligned with your reality. Becomes part of the enjoyment factor of PE, like rugby was back in the day.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, definitely.
And then, so I think a good, an important thing to share, a good bit of context as well, is that you've been real consistent on our Hyrox program, but you've also done some other stuff, right? You're still doing CrossFit classes. What's that been like juggling? Like, what's that look like, I guess, in general? And what's it been like juggling the two? How have you managed that?
Yeah, it's just about planning, I think. And I think obviously it's been good to have you there and go, which one can I sub out? I don't have maybe this much time here, and being able to, I like the look at this class on Friday. It's this, which one can I switch out? So you definitely have to be a bit more organized. And also, I probably pick the classes which most likely reflect what I would be doing that day anyway. Just so that you don't then go into the Hyrox program the next day and your legs are fried or something from so yeah, tend to like try and pick a workout with the same stimulus, but it's definitely more just about planning ahead. You have to kind of look at what the gym's doing, and then look at what the hybrid program is and where they fit in as well. So yeah, more planning, I'd say.
Great point. I think that's the general recommendation, right? Is we don't want to take people away from stuff they enjoy, right? there is a huge thing we learned from COVID, and that is that we love people and community, and we thrive off of that. So if you've got that in a CrossFit gym or whatever it might be, still do that. Use the program that we offer as a blueprint, but make sure that if you are doing both, you're giving some thought to what you're doing on both. So subbing out a squat day at the gym for a squat day on the hybrid program, as an example.
And people love it as well. I know, like people from Birmingham cohort I've mentioned as well, bringing your people from your gym along, like reversing it. Sometimes you go and do a gym session, but I've brought in a lot of people on with the interval running and, you know, stuff that they don't really like, because
yeah, of course,
running, you know, it kind of works both ways, which is quite nice.
Yeah. And what's the general thought or reason for you for doing both? Is it because you want that like community part? Obviously, you started CrossFit, so you don't want to just give that up. Like,
yeah, I suppose, you know, CrossFit, the way the workouts are structured, sometimes if you don't at least get one in, you can really fall out of rhythm with that type of stimulus. So it's a mixture of wanting to go in and still have the chats with people, and you know, people always ask like, how we're getting on with the Hyrox training stuff, but also keeping the familiarity, so that when I eventually do maybe pick up a bit more CrossFit after London, I'm not like absolutely dead.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna bring the conversation on in a sec to just that, just around like how you're able to keep doing some CrossFit and these Hyrox training sessions as well. But before I forget, you talked earlier about being organized with your training. And obviously you mentioned you're a new dad, you got a partner in Sinead. What's that process like with you two then? Factoring in, you know, you both want to train, you've got a kid now. Is there a conversation that happens every week? Do you map out your week?
Yeah, literally every week. Sunday, it's like, right, Monday you're going to go, and then Monday Sinead might go in the morning, or I basically like the mornings. I'm better in the mornings, waking up, than Sinead. So especially as it's like getting into winter, so I'll often do the mornings, and then I'm really fortunate because I work from home, so Sinead can go at lunchtime, and then evening training, believe it or not, fallen to the wayside a little bit. The evening training will be like if neither of us can fit it in lunchtime or in the morning. So it's definitely like, okay, I'll go to the gym at lunch. You can give Nuala her lunch. Okay, I'm going to go to the gym here. Can you walk Maisie, who's our dog, after work? So you just have to be a bit more organized. You can't just But the good thing is, actually, I think with having the time constraints, you are more likely to do it. Because you know, like, I think sometimes when you have unlimited time, you can go, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just go tomorrow, I'll make it up tomorrow. But if tomorrow is Sinead's day to train in the morning, and then I can't go at lunch, you know that you really have to go today. So you can't then, and also with the way the program's structured, it's like quite hectic early on in the week, isn't it? Like the intensity. And so you want to get those days on those days, so that you don't have to then do, you know, a workout on a Saturday before your long run on a Sunday. So the mixture of, you can't really deviate, is actually you're more likely to get it in, I think.
I guess it sounds like, for obviously I know Sinead as well, but it sounds like from what you've said as well, that for both of you, moving and doing some sort of PE is a priority in life. Like you value being able to do that. So that time pressure as well, you've got your accountability, your motivation already exists because you both value that anyway. So it's just balancing the two, isn't it? Is it always that straightforward, or does Nuala have other plans sometimes?
No, normally it's like, once it's decided, it's like, okay, she's not feeding, so okay, well, it's your problem because I'm on the lunchtime. You know what I mean? But then it's the same after. You know, if I go on a run after work and Nuala's cranky, unfortunately Sinead then has to see. It's like swings and roundabouts of.
You've got
you almost say, like, if I'm going to go in the morning, I know that Sinead's going to own the parenting bit, and then if she goes at lunch, like, she knows that I'm going to own it. So yeah, good or bad, you kind of, so some days it's you're flying, you know, Nula's in fantastic mood, eats all her food, goes for a nap, and other days it's you know, you're hanging on in there.
Sounds like you've got yeah, very understanding agreement between the two.
Yeah,
Both
I
willing
think
to compromise, I guess.
I think you're right, like, because I mean, like, Sinead's a social worker, she has a stressful job, and it's like you need the exercise to
Bit of
de-stress,
refresh.
right? Otherwise, you'll just be like, yeah, not mental health and all those other bits. I think it just flows nicely into place when you get someone to make you sweat for an hour, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about Hyrox then. So we were, before we went on to that little segment there, we were talking about you doing CrossFit because you enjoy it. You want to keep that part of the routine, keep your toe dipped in. So when you've done a bit of Hyrox, you're going back to it. So what's the goal with Hyrox? I know we've jumped ahead because we're doing Birmingham a month earlier than you expected. So that might be a little different. But in general, like, is it just a test of your fitness? Are you just looking to have fun? What's the aim?
Yeah, I think it is a test of fitness, like at like a really silly competitive level. Sam at the gym, I think he got like an hour 13, so I just want to get an hour 12. But you know, like because me and him are relatively evenly matched.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like something totally different, isn't it? Like I think that's the goal, is kind of just to experience that and see how I cope with that. Yeah, particularly like, I think I've said this before, but like my CrossFit competitions, my legs always end up going, and like I always end up legs blowing up. So yeah, want to see how running that distance and going into the different stations, how I cope with that, and yeah, just a bit of a mental and physical, I think, because yeah.
Yeah, so nice. I like it. Just so, just to be super clear, you're doing doubles both at Birmingham and London.
Yes, yeah, doubles, men's open doubles.
Yeah, and the open division as well. Cool.
Yeah.
So we're going in both cases just to have a bit of fun, test the fitness, but we've given ourselves a bit of leeway. You've given yourself a bit of leeway in how strict you're being with your training, because we've integrated other stuff, right? So you're doing a bit of CrossFit still. We're coming off the program ever so slightly, just to keep that in mind. What I'm getting at here is there is often a misconception that you need to go all in, guns blazing, Olympic athlete level commitment when you do one of these things. That's not necessarily the case. We've just got to be sensible with the freedom we give ourselves, right?
Yeah, massively. And like, I think because I'm not from Colchester, and neither my Sinead's obviously Irish, so we are away loads of the weekends. So that, I'd say, there's five sessions a week. Like,
yeah,
on an amazing week, I'll get 5 done, but averagely it's 3 or 4. So yeah, there's definitely, life always comes first, like, as much as, and that's why kind of going back to the structure of when we do during the week is so important, because it might be that we're away on a Saturday, or you know, getting back late on a Sunday, whatever. So yeah, yeah, it's definitely not like, I've been training well, but not 100% strict, and definitely not like yeah, like I haven't stuck to it by the letter for sure.
No, and that's great. Like, if you acknowledge that you just can't do that, right? As you said, new dad, you want a life outside of the gym as well. You've got to allow yourself a bit of leeway, right? If there's 5 sessions on the program, but your expectation is to get 4 done, if you do that 5th, amazing, you're buzzing.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, well, your expectation was only 4, so you've met your expectation still. Like, set the bar slightly lower than where you want it to be, because life happens. And then if you can achieve all 5, fantastic, right?
And I think it goes nicely into, I'm not just plugging the stuff we've built, but you know, like, looking at, I said an hour 12 because I want to beat Sam, but you plug that into the calculator and you look at like what's realistic, and like, particularly for the running and stuff, which is obviously the biggest part, like that kind of gives you some confidence that actually 4 sessions a week is okay, as long as I prioritize, like, I'm relatively strong, can do a bit the other bit. So as long as I prioritize the these bits, I know that I'll be okay. So that kind of gives you the confidence as well. Like you're not kind of shooting into the dark. Like it obviously breaks down like what you need in each station. And throughout the X number of weeks of training, I've achieved all that. I've achieved the running. So if I hadn't had any of the data or know what I was aiming for, I'd be definitely more nervous of like, oh my God, I've missed this session. Like, you know.
No, that's good. That leads nicely on to, because I think we'll open that up a little bit more as we go on to this. So you've got a target, hour and 12 minutes and 59 seconds.
Yeah.
So we can peg Sam. So yeah, me and you are doing Birmingham. So let's talk about that, because we'll do another one of these conversations afterwards. So we can hear expectations, thoughts now, and whether it actually played out like that on the day. You've used our Hyrox calculator largely because you built it, so be worried if you didn't use it. But we've got a calculator on our website where you plug in a target time, and it gives you quite literally a breakdown of how you hit that target time. So average running pace that you need to achieve, times on each of the workout stations. You've used that in your training because, again, we build that into our programs. But you alluded to there, right? It's been pretty useful for getting a sense for, is it realistic to do an hour and 12, or are you pitching in the dark there? How has that felt as you've gone through? Because all of your training has been based on target times on ergs and running.
Yeah, like it's transformational. Like it has been mental to be able to go, okay, like to get an hour and 12, you need to do a 1:58 on the ski. And then you do a 1:58 for a whole kilometer. And then you're like, okay, that's double, you know, like, and it builds in, and you need to do this many wall balls, and having that as a reference point, and then, ticking it off in workouts and being like, oh, okay, so that's actually way more than I'd need to do, or that's way faster than I'd need to do that. It gives you confidence to then be like, okay, like I can definitely do this. Like, and that, but the data side of it has been really interesting for me. Like, and I love that stuff anyway, but I didn't really, even though I love all the stats and the data, I didn't really know how much confidence it would give me. Do you know what I mean? Beforehand.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing, right? Obviously, conscious that there's people listening that don't know you or seen you training. So I'm speaking from somebody that does and trains with you, but your confidence has built over the weeks massively, as we said earlier, like so much so that you're enjoying yourself that much, you're running on holiday.
Yeah.
But how has that been as the weeks have gone on? Because you've not, as we said, you've not followed the program to the letter, but you have been consistent each week. How's that confidence built? What's it felt like in training? What does it feel like now you're a week out from the race?
Yeah, so I think it was about 5 weeks ago we did a 10K test, and this is just to speak about the downs and ups. And like, funny enough, I'd actually had my partner was off for the day at work for like a keep in touch day, and I'd done like 20,000 steps with Nuala in a carrier, and then yeah, literally, like I think she's good 8 or 9 kilos now. But I didn't even think of it like how that would, because we just went to the park and walked the dog. And then I went to run the 10K, and I had this like idea in my head of how fast I thought I was going to run it based on all the training. And then like 1.8K in, I was like, oh my God, my legs are in serious trouble, and managed to get like an all right time. And that was really demotivating. But then obviously spoke to yourself, said about kind of the day I'd had, and then you were like, that's probably why, like, but you don't, because you have all of these, but then since going from there's been like 4 or 5 sessions, one probably the culmination of when we did the half sim, and it was like, oh my God, like I can actually do this. And it's gone from, but that's the beauty of it, the ups and downs, and then having yourself as a coach there to kind of go, why didn't this work out? Why was that run so much harder than, the run last weekend was like, I did under target time for 10K, and it was like, okay, couldn't I have done that on the test, So I ran, but
we've had a really good chat in our community chat groups recently exactly about this, right? Where we've spent the best part of 8 to 12 weeks for most people building up to a race, and there's so much emphasis put on race day, or in your instance, that 10K test. But life happens, right? So your performance at any one point isn't a reflection of your fitness. It's just a reflection of the package you could put together on that one day.
Yeah.
But as you found out, not long after that 10K test, you're still really fit. You're still faster than you were. You're still stronger than you were. You're still way more confident. It's just on that day, you had to carry a kid around for what is 20,000 steps, probably 8 miles. It's a lot of steps.
But that's it, having the down point and then still being able to build massive confidence even a few weeks later over the workouts and stuff has been, because you can get into a bit of a slump sometimes, but then like the very next week was a long run or like an interval and a long run where you kind of, the confidence is straight back up because you've smashed it again. So
it's important to zoom out, right? We do these tests on the program, or like we've got a test next week at Birmingham when we actually race. But depending on how it goes, if you zoom out and you think, okay, did the week before look like I wanted it to, or did work get really busy? Was I stressed out? Did Nuala have a few restless nights? So I didn't sleep for 3 days beforehand. What are the contributing factors outside of your performance? And then look at the performance, or look at your 10K test. Like, did I pace it well? Did I fuel properly? Was I well recovered beforehand because I tapered properly? There's lots of things that go into how well you do on the day, not just the effort that you put in that day. If you've given 100%, and that is, if you had 10% to give on the day, but you gave all of that 10%, you've given 100%.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
The old phrase. Okay, thinking about next week then. So, how are you feeling? Excited?
I'm really, really excited. Nervous to do it with you because you're so rapid. But no, not actually. Like, I'm just buzzing. I think there's a few stations that I'm nervous about, just because, like I said before, about my legs blowing up. But then, kind of the Hyrox sim we did earlier in the week, I was like, okay, like, and the doubles open is quite nice in that you do get some rest. Like, it's not a constant slog, like like we said, with a rower at the halfway point or whatever, just over, you kind of get like a good minute of just regain my composure. Mostly just excited and actually like just to see what it's like, because you see clips of it, but I've not been into like one of the venues and like seen the pumping music and stuff. So yeah, but excited.
Have you, think in training, out of training, have you done anything then to prepare for the day? So we've obviously done sessions together recently to get our pacing and how we're going to split things. Have you spoke to anyone else that's done a Hyrox? Have you watched any videos?
Yeah, a couple people from work and Sam as well. Just how do different things translate? What did you find the most difficult? And yeah, just trying to get a gauge of. I think the big ones are people like, don't go out too hot. Don't. That's like that's something everyone says, like, don't kill yourself in the first run. So yeah, just kind of chatting to people that have done it, and that uniformly people have been like, oh, it's such good fun. So that's always what, I can't remember, what's the race where like people get like zapped and stuff and they climb, like a lot of people will do one of those and be like, like it's like you run in mud and like
Spartan.
Like Spartan and Tough Mudder. Like people will often do those and be like, I was freezing and it was horrible, and like, but everyone with Hyrox has been like, no, it's really good fun.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Like people post event have been really positive about
You're
it.
You're in a nice, warm, very warm, big, I don't know what they're called, warehouse, I guess. Center. Stadium. You're definitely not muddy and getting cold swimming. So in that sense, it's nice. And then prep-wise for next week, is there anything in particular that you're planning to do, whether that is training, nutrition, any like mindset-y bits that you do before that you used to do before a rugby game that you're thinking about doing again?
I know you don't want my pre-rugby routine. That was a bag full of nerves and nearly being sick all the time. So I'll try and leave that one behind. No, I think not little plug, but the nutrition webinar that I'll be attending that and kind of looking at fueling for the day and stuff. And then for me, I think it's just I need to stay relaxed. And I know we'll probably taper off a little bit. Like it's a last long run is on Sunday, and then it's kind of tapering off before to give yourself a chance to rest, but keep moving. So yeah, a lighter week of training next week, and then yeah, just looking at what I'll probably do on the day food wise. Nothing too mental in terms of changes, but
yeah, loads will come on that front from the nutrition webinar on Sunday. Whether this video is up or not in time is another story. But yeah, we've got a nutrition webinar on Sunday that will talk through how to prep for the race nutritionally. But what you're alluding to there is you're seeking out that information, regardless whether it was on Sunday or not. You're doing your due diligence, figuring out what you need to do, when you need to do it. So that's obviously super important. And then the other thing you said there was about keeping yourself calm. So having shared earlier in the week that with your rugby games, you'd get super nervous, probably throw up in a bush somewhere before the game. We know together as a partnership for the day, we need to keep you nice and level-headed, right? Probably a little bit distracted before we get going, but we're going to talk about that stuff before, right? So you've shared that with me. You're going to get nervous. You know that I'm nervous because I'm not talking. I'll just go really quiet.
yeah,
So we kind of know what to look out for in each other, so we can play off each other in that sense, which is super handy.
I would say as well on the nerves, like the difference, I suppose, with a rugby game or you don't know what's going to happen. And that is true with the fitness event too. But because we have the pacings and the timings and I've done it all, it's really about how well can you apply that on the day rather than, so there's a level of predictability, which I think I'll probably try and lean into to be like, you've already done this, you know what's coming. It's going to be this and then this and then this, which I think is the beauty of Hyrox. Like it's a race where you know roughly how you're going to feel at different stages. So
yeah, mate, exactly that. We've got a plan, haven't we?
That's it.
And this time next week, we'll hear whether we managed to execute on that plan or you threw up at some point.
Yeah, or I threw up in the tunnel, the Red Bull tunnel.
Don't do it in there, Christ. Mate, that has been awesome. We've been talking for 32 minutes already, so we're going to wrap it up there. But we will chat next week, hear how it went, and what's next, which will be for you, London, which is very exciting.
Buzzing.
So yeah, thank you very much for coming on, buddy.
Thanks,
and let's catch up next week.
Will do.
And that's it. I'll cut it there. I'm going to leave it.
It's the awkward moment where
I'll leave it for another 10 seconds or so and then chop it off. Well done, mate. That's good.
Yeah. I hopefully gave you some good answers.
No, it's good. That first bit, I think, like diving into